pointed out, the best thing about Atari Mar is it triggers during the Enneacraft player's turn only to flip itself face up to negate effect that's been activated, and then will trigger the ability to put all the opponent's monsters face down. So it's actually a really good premium card for the Enneacraft strategy. And opening up this hand, we also see that there is a good old Monarch here, and it is going to be Sever going first. Activating the Enneacraft release, this is going to get direct access to an Enneacraft monster, and Florian instantly picking up to read the card here. This is going to be very, very interesting. I don't know how familiar Florian will be with the Enneacraft strategy.
And I want to discuss right now the two key points for me right now. It is, firstly, that Enneacraft won the dice roll, which is very important, since the control strategy and loss goes first. And secondly, when it's your first time playing against Enneacraft, since, if I can understand correctly from Florian, that read the Enneacraft release, this quite play a huge role, because if you are not familiar with the choke points of the deck and how you can interact with it, I think you might have a hard time dealing with it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very, very important for Florian on this one to gather as much information as possible. Now, I think we mentioned this yesterday on the Genesis feature as well, is that there's ways that you can compartmentalize as a duelist. So try and get whatever works for you, whether it be the name, whether it be the color of the card or anything like that, try and associate that with the effect that it does. So it's always nice to know that the level 1s will always be 900 life points in the scales, search themselves out, another Enneacraft card by revealing 3 Enneacraft cards with the same or different names, quite similar to the Monarch strategy. And then the bigger ones all have different built-in either continuous effects, flip effects and everything else in between. So there's a lot of text on the Enneacraft cards, but it's very important that you figure down and fine-tune down as much information as possible.
And looking at Enneacraft, it kind of reminds me of Blitzkrieg.
Yes.
In the sense of the summoning condition, right? When you reveal themselves and they can special summon from hand in face down defense position, obviously. It kind of reminds me the Blitzkrieg strategy that we showcased a lot during the Genesis Championship yesterday. And in the first round also from our European champion, Lorenzo Muselli. And I think right now that Sever finds all the pieces of his engine in order to advance, and one of the true win conditions of the deck is the field spell, which is one of the key ways in order to deal some damage.
Yeah, exactly that. So the Enneanopolis, all of basically your scales, the level 1s will gain, and even the higher levels will gain a counter every single time a monster is split face up, either your side of the field or your opponent's. Now, when you've got 2 scales in place, each of them will be gaining a counter once each, and I think that's exactly, Server's just kind of explained that you can return those scales. But the idea is that they build up counters, and then it's mandatory in the end phase that you remove all counters, and then for every counter removed, your opponent takes 900 damage, and that can ramp up really, really quickly.
So, at this point, we're just searching for our spells in order to establish our key components of our field, but I think it will be not quite some time that we will start to generate our big monsters. For example, I haven't seen yet Enneacraft Atari Mar to be added to the hand, but I'm pretty sure that it will be added quite shortly.
Yeah, exactly. As you've kind of pointed out, what you want to do is you want to go through, they have 5 level 1s right now. All of those level 1s work their way into other Enneacraft monsters. The idea is that you go from a level 1 to another level 1, you get out all 5 of those level 1 monsters, because then you can reveal them in a hand to get some of your bigger Enneacrafts down. And as you mentioned, Atari Mario is kind of like their best effective main deck boss monster, but then they also have backups in stuff like Pexia, which is a target protection. They've got Tail, which is destruction protection, and then they have the more recent one as well, being the Spear. And the Spear is a kind of a chain blocker, because it doesn't let your opponent create chains of Link 3 or higher, which can actually be very, very good in certain matchups as well.
And I think it was one of those newest additions that really increase the ceiling of the deck and how it can interact with the rest of the meta. And I believe that finally we will go to search our true components of our strategy, and I want to see the what Sever right now has in his mind.
Yeah, so we're kind of using our ignition reload-esque effect in the form of the Enneacraft Reverse. So this allows you to shuffle back all of those little ones you've already gone through back into the deck to then draw 4 brand new cards in this scenario. And all those 4 cards, apart from one, are not looking ideal with what you've got backed up on this one as well. So we're revealing the Atari Mar. The Atari Mar doesn't have to enter the field of play directly itself. You can actually put any of your monsters in face down defense position, and it looks like we're going to be playing something different. We're going to reveal the Atari Mar, and this is quite an interesting strategy because you keep revealing the Atari Mar, you keep setting additional cards. Your opponent doesn't know when Atari Mar is actually entering the field of play or know what those other set cards are. So it's actually quite important there as well. And we're going to tribute to, and this is where we're going to see the Thunder Monarch. Wow.
You spoke about the Monarchs, I believe, some minutes before. And would you believe that in 2026 we would have experience, but we are responding with Harmonia, I believe?
Good choice. So this is where it can get very, very dangerous, is that with the Zaborg, the Mega Monarch, it can actually be, the idea is you can control the cards you take away from your opponent's graveyard. The opponent's extra deck. And in doing so, especially in an Harmonia strategy style deck or even an Elfnote strategy deck, once you get that information, you also take away a lot of their resource going forward. And responding with the Harmonia is interesting, but we do also have the Atari Mar, which is very, very important because we can now protect our own Zaborg. And I think that's something that Florian probably wasn't fully aware of unless we have a response here. But that leaves a Harmonia. We do have a response with an infinite impermanence on the Zaborg, the Mega Monarch. Wow, okay. So the infinite impermanence will resolve, negating Zaborg, the Mega Monarch. The Atari Mar will resolve, negating the Harmonia Flodrolis. And then the Zaborg will resolve, negated because of infinite impermanence.
And Florian just waited for the right moment in order to activate the sequence of Harmonia and Infinite Permanence, and I believe that he just turned a game that we believe that Sever was in a very good spot. However, he's going to end, I believe, with 2 draw in hand, maybe, and that's it.
Yeah. So I wonder how this one has resolved, because it is Atari. I thought Atari Mar, and I could be incorrect on this one. So it is when your opponent activates a card or effect on the field, so it can't actually respond to the Harmonia. Apologies. So it can actually respond to the infinite impermanence. So to rectify that chain, it was chaining 1 Harmonia. Then it would have to be chaining 2 infinite impermanence to target the Zaborg to negate it. Chaining 3 was going to be the Atari Mar. Atari Mar negates infinite impermanence, which means the Zaborg resolves as it needs to, which is exactly what we're doing here. Is Sever is sending the cards from his extra deck to the graveyard, which usually the type of cards you want to be sending will be cards like Garura, because you'll get an additional draw card. You look like we've got the Agnista, which will give you a way to destroy. Possibly going to be seeing an Albion there, which is going to get direct access to the Fallen and the Virtuous. We've got Cyframe Lord Omega, which will allow him to recycle cards from the graveyard. We've got Tri-Brigade Ferigi, which will allow him to draw a card and put a card back. And then we've got 3 of the Paleozoic Link monsters, which is actually really, really good, because this has a very nice, I wouldn't say hidden effect, but it's actually quite useful in the graveyard as well.
So just to explain what happened in the chain link before, Zaborg activated the effect to send the cards from the extra deck to the graveyard. Harmonia was changed to his effect, and later in Infinite Permanence's Harmonia is activated in the hand, was activated in the spell of Zaborg. Then Atari Mar changed the effect to negate the Infinite Permanence, and that's why all those cards are sending from the extra deck to the graveyard.
Yeah, correct. But it does leave Sever with 0 cards on the field right now, and Florian does have the Harmonia Flodrolis. So it's all going to come down from these draws, because we saw that the draws off of the back of the Enneacraft Reverse weren't exactly ideal. I believe we saw a Maul Charmy there. We also saw 2 Drolls, Droll and Lockbirds, which aren't perfect for what you're trying to do. But and it looks like we just got Desire as well.
Yeah, I just want...
It could be very, very costly. There's still a lot of the Enneacraft we can summon here, but it looks like we haven't even played a turn. Like, we've just reset the entire game.
also nice sportsmanship from Florian because Sever activated the effect of Garura later after the draw from the Trebregate link, I remember.
Yeah,
Ferrigate, yes. And we can see that his hand has definitely upgraded from what it used to be.
Yeah.
So it is called Draw, Fallen.
I still think there's cards in there you don't really want to see. Like, you probably don't want to see Fallen because you're going to try and get that with the Albion, I suppose. And I just feel like the Enfield presence, or the Bestial Magnamut as well, that is Albion. Well, I take that back. That's the curse of the commentator on that one. Now you do want to see Fallen and the Virtuous.
And right now we will also set the Fallen because we kept it in hand since Albion will set another copy, as you mentioned. However, since it is still in the main phase that the Magnamut was activated, we can set both Call by the Grave and the Fallen of the Virtuous, and we will add another copy of Harmonia through the effect of Magnamut.
Yeah, so this is actually quite interesting now because because Florian was able to choose the cards that were sent off of Zaborg, they're still well within control to keep the cards they actually want and need. And once you've resolved the Harmonia, you can send the cards you don't necessarily need. And we've already got access to the Cypher Lord Omega in Florian's graveyard as well. So that could start to recycle some of the materials. And we're just reading the Paleozoic Cambarossa. And this is kind of one of the effects you need to be aware of, because if a card is flipped face up, that's when you can start to utilize the effect as well.
And in graveyard we have Omega.
Yeah. So we're just having a look at our Enneacraft Yugioh, kind of consider at what point we can utilize the effect. Now the Yugioh will only trigger when your opponent activates a monster effect in the hand specifically. So it's kind of one of the cards that you set against your opponent's draw and lot bird, because then you can still get a search off of the Yugioh as well to still give you a bit more advantage. And it looks like the Harmonia is just going to go to battle phase. We're going to flip it. It will get a flip effect to destroy non-target a monster your opponent's controls. So at this point, it looks like we're going to destroy the Bestial Magnamut. It also shows that there's probably no Elfnote for Florian to present to the field either.
You know that in Enneacraft names are all Greek, right?
Correct, yeah. Seems like it was made for you on this one, doesn't it?
And that mage has his Acropolis.
Yeah.
Now on the Elfnote side, how do you feel about the deck post the latest set that got so such good support, and I think that the ceiling has increased a lot.
Yeah, I think the addition of the Elfnote June Pride is incredible. The fact that it gives you access to all three of the Elfnotes, Tania, Fortuna and Lucina is absolutely incredible. We are going to see one of the Draw and Lot birds coming into effect here from Sever, and it is just going to be a direct pass from Florian. We know that Florian does have access to the Terminus for next turn, and we also know that there is a Harmonia in the hand. Sever is just having a look at his graveyard here to see if there's anything that can wreak a resource, because the one thing that we are missing is an Enneacraft monster, and that's where Enneacraft Release may play a very pivotal factor after this draw here.
We still have, yes, to banish the release from the graveyard.
Yeah.
And this is what I really truly like about the Enneacraft, that has so much resources. It feels like they never end, because you have also the effect to shuffle back any monsters that you have utilized, the level 1 as you mentioned in the first turn, and it feels like they just keep going and going and going.
Yeah, exactly what we're going to see doing here. I think Sever's played it a little bit defensively. I'm not too sure how good the draw for turn was. We also have their own Omega in the graveyard that could help them recycle a little bit of resource if we wanted to. We did add back the Atari Mar, and it looks like we have a scale to place that we drew off the turn, and it is another Yugioh, so this is going to get direct access to, ideally, another Enneacraft monster. We put all of our other level 1s back into the deck. So you can imagine that we're probably going to get a second scale into play. We do have the the Atari Mar possibly set. The only downside is that will only protect against that set card on the field. It won't protect against the other Harmonia currently in Florian's hand until it enters the field of play.
So we search for Allosonia, and states when your opponent activates a card or effect that includes an effect that adds a card from the deck to the hand. You can change this face down card to face up defense position, add one Enneacraft card from the deck to the hand. So this is what I was talking about, that this deck has so many ways to find resources. For example, you can let your opponent play a little bit, activate the effect of Allosonia to add one piece also to your hand. And now we are searching for the pendulum scale effect, which says that you can pay 900 life points and reveal 3 Enneacraft cards from the deck, and your opponent randomly picks one. Obviously, we revealed the 3 same copies of Dromaria, and now we will activate the effect of the field spell in order to take back the pendulum scales in our hand.
Yeah, I think we're going to be seeing pretty much a repeat of turn 1 as well on this one, is that we're going to activate the Tremoria. The Tremoria is probably going to lead us into another one, or try to lead us into another one of the level 1s in order to get another search. And then you might want to consider trying to add another one of your bigger Enneacraft monsters, and at that point it's going to be a bit more of a control play. Now we only have 2 Enneacraft reverse left in the deck, so I wonder if Florian will deliberately give the reverse to his opponent, or is he going to give the Pexia for the target protection?
I think in this scenario it's better to give the Astapixia to the hand.
Oh, sorry, apologies, it's random, so guess we're about to find out. Did we get the... I mean, the reverse, it didn't work out too well for Sever previously on this one, so it will be risk and reward. Did we get the... I think we got the reverse. Yeah, we did get the reverse. I mean, 66% chance, so... Activating the reverse here. Looks like we're going to possibly repeat the exact same thing. Yeah, we're going to put back all 3 of our level 1 Enneacrafts. Going to draw 3 brand new cards. And I suppose at this point, you kind of want to start getting the bigger monsters into the field of play. Get them set up onto the field. And then hopefully you can start to control your opponent's field as well a little bit more, because all you need to worry about is the Harmonia, and then the Harmonia that is currently in Florian's hand as well.
And I believe that Zaborg may be the only option for Harmonia to be activated, right?
Yeah, but yeah, definitely during Sever's turn, unless Florian was to activate an effect that allowed Sever to flip the Enneacraft face up. Yeah. I suppose the other question is actually, so we removed... No, it's because we initially removed 8 monsters from Florian's extra deck, and that would have left with a total... Well, 8 plus the 1 that we sent off of Harmonia the first time, leaves 6 in the extra deck, and then we used Omega to put 1 back. So Florian currently has 7 cards in the extra deck. It's going to be quite interesting.
Would you bring Enneacraft to the European Championship?
I was contemplating it with a couple of friends. It is very, very control, but it doesn't have a huge amount of space for non-engine. So you do rely purely on the fact of each of their inbuilt effects having that correct line. And then you do rely a little bit more so on your opponent of exactly them not knowing what they do. Because there is a lot of text on them. But once you kind of narrow down what each one does, you can kind of play around and control it a little bit more easier. And drawing a lot better is a massive factor.
One fact that I don't like the deck, it takes so much time to advance and to steal games. For example, right now we see Sever to have play for 20 minutes and he's in a very advantageous position, but still has a lot of way to go until to win this game.
Yeah. And
the clock is the thing.
Yeah, you're completely right on that one. And I think the one other thing that the Enneacraft do rely on a little bit less so, or don't really have, is once you can present a monster to the field that is either 3,000 attack or more, it becomes a lot harder for the Enneacraft stronger monsters to start to push some damage through as well.
And now Florian, it has to deal with quite a field from Sever's side. However, we need to remember we attack Atomimar, I like this one because he's changed Atomimar into a face-up defense position. Since it is flipped, he will activate the effect to flip Harmonia to face-down defense position, and its battle position cannot be changed. But right now, Atomimar doesn't have the negation effect.
Correct. So the only thing that is fearful for Florian is if that Atarimar is put face down again, because the best thing about Enneacraft is not hard once per turns. We are going to activate the Terminus. Now, this could possibly be where that second draw on Lockbird that Sever had could come into play and kind of slow Florian down a little bit more. You're also right, because when you're taking time into account, I feel for Florian as well, it might also be one of those periods where you have to analyze your progression and whether it's ideal for you to move on to game 2 and then carry on through or not. So it looks like we added off of the terminal here. Sever is just checking the Enneacraft spell card triggers in the graveyard, because we have Reverse, which allows you to either summon one of your Enneacrafts from the hand, or you can flip one of your Enneacrafts face up. We're going to have Medius the Pure enter here. Medius Pure is going to attempt to use the effect. Now we have target protection. I believe we've got destruction protection with tail, and the other card is unknown. So we're going to activate our Enneacraft reset to try and put that Atarimar back face down, and then I hope, or I think the plan is that we're going to try and trigger that Reverse to flip down whatever card Florian brings onto the field here.
How do you execute this combo if you were for Florian? Meaning that if right now Atomimar activates the effect to be flipped face up, and this the monsters of Florian are set to defense position, since the center main monster zone is occupied, I don't know how Florian is going to play through this, because Elfnote Power Patron will be set face down right now, except if we have another play.
Ooh, and we do. So we do have one of the Elfnote trap cards here, so this is going to give us a bit more of a resistance. So we've got the Rhapsody of Madness.
So it is a continuous trap that states while you control a monster in your center main monster zone, like Elfnote Power Patron, your opponent monster cannot attack except to attack that monster. Also, you can send one monster from your hand or field to the graveyard, then target one Elfnote in your graveyard with a different original attribute. Special summon it, then if you control a synchro monster, you can negate the effect of one face-up card your opponent control until the end of this turn.
Yeah, so unfortunately for Florian on that one, even though we had the trap card to try and help us navigate around a little bit more, there was a Fall on the Virtuous which was then utilised to destroy the trap card so that it would resolve without effect. And yeah, Sever takes game number 1, 23 minutes long, but I feel that Florian now, I think it's a little bit more trickier for Florian, but I feel it's definitely in Sever's interest to see how far Florian can go, because this is the one big thing about the Enneacraft, where they have so much little space for non-engine. It does make it a little bit trickier to try and interact with your opponents. You have to choose near enough the perfect cards. What I mean by that is you'd kind of want to be going in, right, Perulia can come into the main deck for this one, the more charmy Perulia. Drum and Lockbird can be a bit of a premium sometimes against Elfnotes, but depending on the version of Elfnotes that is being utilised, you might be able to navigate around it. And you also don't want to disrupt your natural flow of the Enneacrafts as well.
And as we talked through the whole game, to be honest, the key factor about this matchup is if you can resolve Atomimar to set a monster in the center and monster zone. And as we saw, Florian was expecting the Atomimar to be activated, but was not expecting obviously the Fallen the Virtues on the Elfnote Rhapsody of Madness. And we experienced that Florian knew exactly that he didn't have an out to it, and he conceded the game. What cards would you expect from Florian's side to bring in this matchup?
From Florian, I don't feel that I would change a huge amount, and I think that's why the side process has been quite quick for Florian on that one. That you just want to back up and solidify your going first field. Like, Elfnotes are actually very, very good at what they can produce, and when they do get a full field, they can have a lot of interactions against your opponent, especially when you start taking into account the additional effects of the trap cards to give you negations when you have synchro monsters. And I feel for Florian, he probably wants to wrap up game 2 as fast as he possibly can, so that he has more time to try and break apart Sever's field in game number 3.
Yes, I agree on this one, because we experienced the first game taking 25 minutes, which is quite a lot, and if Florian managed to win, we'll still have one game 3 that it will be very, very close to the time. Personally, I would bring any card that helps me to send Scarf as a cost from the fields to the graveyard, like Droplet, for example, because as we just experienced, the key component that you need to take into consideration is that you need free this center main monster zone.
Yeah, so here's one for you. With Florian, would you consider taking out your Harmonia Fragilis? Because the biggest fear that you had, maybe, was the Zaborg, and I would be quite surprised if Sever was to keep Zaborg in going second.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't keep either the Magnamut, neither the Magnum, neither the Harmonia, since, as you just mentioned, Zaborg is the best options for you to activate the Harmonia, since the rest of the Enneacraft can pretty much, you will wait too long for Harmonia to be able to activate the effect, and I think this is one of those cards that Sever, you don't expect him to bring going second.
Yeah, so this is actually quite an interesting point as well, because now that we've worked our way into the brand new Elfnote June Pride, navigating around as well, we've done a direct search off of the Lucina. So it kind of telegraphs that Sever doesn't have a Drow and Lockbird, and that's kind of a nice feeling if you're an Enneacraft player, to try and get as much searches as possible. And now utilising June Pride in order to get access to 3 power patrons, 1 from Grave, 1 from hand, 1 from deck, and it is up to 3. And Sever just there instantly admits defeat on that one. So quite a juxtaposition in comparison to the first game. But this kind of shows that both duelists know what they need to do to get that third game and go into round number 3 with an EXO record.
Yes, and this what Sever just did, I really liked, because it is a very hard skill in Yu-Gi-Oh to acknowledge when you are in a losing position in order for you to manage to concede the game and go for game 3, for example. Because you also acknowledge the weakness of your deck, that for me it is the time management that you have in your hands. And I think that Sever has been in this tournament very prepared and acknowledged all the flaws that Enneacraft might bring to the European Championship.
Yeah, exactly that, and I think this is obviously going to be quite important for Florian as well. So when you're starting to bring cards in, one of the biggest weaknesses against Enneacraft mentioned in game number 1 is Drow and Lockbird. They like to search a lot, and they don't really have a direct answer to it unless they do get the ability of, seeing Called by the Grave to stop the Drow and Lockbird. But then you also need to take into account that Florian might want to put in some field breaker effects. So Lightning Storms could be considered if they are being utilised. Even Evenly Matched can be quite effective. It could be a little bit more effective than Lightning Storm because there can be destruction protection. But Sever, to navigate, either needs to get all of his protections in line, being the target protection with Pexia or the destruction protection with Tail, or you're going to have to choose one or the other. And I feel that maybe the targeting is the one you want to worry about the least in that scenario.
Now, if you were Florian, would you bring the Harmonia?
It's a good question, very good question, I think, because Zaborg is quite a big threat. Zaborg becomes worse if Sever is able to set up the full combo, and the full combo with Zaborg is that you need to tribute one of your bigger Enneacraft monsters to do that, because when you do that, you have direct access to choose what gets banished. And with Elfnotes, because their extra is actually quite varied, a lot of their targets are... The Harmonia ones are very specific. They're the cards you want to send. Whereas the other side of that, all of the Elfnote ones are also very, very specific. They help you build, and they can't really afford to play many multiples of them. So I feel you need to be very, very break fields, but you also need to have the ability to still play the game when it comes back to you. There's a bit of a, yeah.
A little mind games, right?
Yeah, catch-22. You're doomed if you do, doomed if you don't kind of approach, but I think we'll see here whether Florian kept those in. Oh, and there is that call by the Grey for Sever. If that Droll is in Florian's hand. Oh.
So you believe that the biggest threat for Enneacraft is Droll, right?
I mean, it's depending on what else is already in Sever's hand. If there's a lot of the little level ones, then yes. Because the little level ones don't really present any field pressure at all. If it's all of the bigger ones, then it can be a lot less effective, because then you can just end your field on a lot of the stronger ones and build on from there. But on the flip side of this, there's actually not any monsters that Sever can do. There's not much that can be done here, because we've only got access to what looks like Leon, which is what Florian is kind of reading now. And I believe the other one is the Scorpion, being the tail. So, and then having access, Release is a great card to have, as the Enneacraft reset, but if you don't have anything to follow it up with, it's not that good.
I was thinking about this, that we have set 2 monsters, but we truly do not present any real field pressure at this point, because all our cards are depending for how Florian is going to play his turn, and later, if we manage to bring those resources up to trying to interact in turn 3.
Yeah. Let's see what we start off with. So that's actually a very, very good start in there from Florian. So starting off with the Power Patron Portal Terminus. Is actually going to be able to get us access direct to the Power Patrons. Now, the one big thing about this is once we've resolved this, we're not going to be able to attack with anything apart from the Power Patrons at this moment in time. So that could give Sever another turn to survive.
Yes, and I want to see how Sever is going to utilize his cards, because Leon needs to opponent to activate a counter effect in response to your counter effects in order to activate his own effect, which is you can change this face down card to face up defense position, return up to 3 cards from the field to the hand. So I believe the correct spot is to wait for the Call by the Grave to be activated on the correct time in order for Florian to interact with the Call by the Grave, so you have a chance to activate Leon into a mini established field and trying to stop him from generating more advantage.
Yeah, exactly that. And just kind of reading the graveyard effect of the Enneacraft reset on this one. So this will allow us to get access to putting back another one of our Enneacraft monsters to face down defense vision, which can be quite effective depending on the scenario on this one. And it's only if they activate a counter effect while it is in the graveyard. You banish it, change an Enneacraft monster you control to face down defense vision, up to the number of cards in your pendulum zone. So actually at the monster there is 0.
And I liked how Florian played his turn right now, because he did not want to activate more cards, because he knew that in the main monster, in the center main monster zone is Leon, so he just waited to attack with the Elfnote Power Patron, and now mid-use the Pure activates the effect to bring another Elfnote Power Patron, and now he will activate the effect.
Yeah, very well navigated here from Florian, and Sever is currently not sitting on a huge amount of interaction here. So we're building ourselves up into a synchro play here. We're just trying to see what may be summoned. So he's going to go for the 8 being the Omega. This is actually quite interesting, because I think Omega can trade off with the last card in Sever's hand, and that gives you a little less to worry about, which could be quite useful. I believe the Call by the Grey is going to be utilised here to get rid of the Power Patron.
And I want to see if Florian right now understands that if he interacts, Leon will be triggered. If now he doesn't do anything, yes, Leon is just a card in the main monster zone that cannot activate the effect, since we don't have anything to trigger him right now. Very well played from Florian. I really like that.
Yeah, very, very well controlled. We've got a lot in our hand as well. So if we activate our Omega, we take away that Enneacraft, get the information that it is now a known card. I wonder if there's going to be... I don't think he needs to do much more. I mean, the Leon can still be quite fretful, because flip the Leon up, it's a 3000 attack monster.
Ooh, however, I think we just stop the something good.
Ooh, okay. So we flip up the Leon. Now, Leon's flip, like face-up effect, isn't as restricted as the rest, but we're definitely going to get some attack here.
Oh, so I was between if it was release or reverse, but if I understand correctly from how the turn went, I think that it was reverse, which is with an empty hand, it cannot...
Yeah, it is reverse. So we have to trade off for our own Leon, which I suppose you have to believe in the heart and the cards on this one, because trading off with Leon, is there going to be an Ash? There is an Ash. Oh, okay. So that leaves Leon in the field in a tap position. We're going to use the Enneacraft to try and return it to the hand. And I'm assuming we're going to try and reset it. Yeah. Okay. And then we're going to pass this over to Florian. Is there anything more that Florian can build on? We do need to just see an Elfnote monster, and I think we'll start to come back. So we're going to get the Omega back, which is fairly good here. We can attack the Leon, clear the Leon off the field at least. We do know that there is another Terminus in Florian's hand, but is there anything else that can follow off the back of this?
Yeah, the only thing that I didn't like about this, it was that Leon has 3000 attack that Omega cannot attack over it. But right now, since he's in defense position, Omega has higher attack, and thus he can just go through battle phase and clear Leon.
Yeah. Concerned that there's nothing more. Oh, okay, there's nothing more from Florian here. That's very interesting. We do have the revert from the graveyard, so the Leon will definitely be coming back to the hand. Sorry, no, the release on that one. So we're going to use the Power Patron. Yeah. It's not looking so great for Sever, but we do also need to keep in mind that Sever is still at 8,000 life points as well. And there is 13 minutes on the clock. A lot can still happen depending on that one card from the top of the deck, but I do believe that there was a draw lot better in Florian's hand, which again, it changes the tide of this duel back in Florian's favour one way or another.
No, we can still use the effect of Omega to just banish the card from Sever hand.
Yeah, I suppose you take that 50-50 chance risk during Sever's turn. You already know the Enneacraft, you don't really want to be taking that away. It has no direct value right now, having multiple copies. But okay, that's interesting. Okay, so we're just reading the Power Patron. So the Power Patron, Janora. Is there a graveyard hidden effect on this one? Card on protect till the end phase. We draw for turn. We get the Pexia. Okay, not the ideal one you want to be seeing. We're just going to set the Pexia. Going to pass back over to Florian. This is now got to be the moment. So we're going to get back the Enneacraft. Omega enters the field of play again. The Pexia gives you targeted protection, and it's whenever your opponent wants to try and target cards as well. Could be quite important. But I still don't feel that it presents as big of a threat. It's still only 2,500 defense, which is why we're going to see attacks. And there is our first Elfnote monster, Fortuna. You don't mind which one you get as long as you get one of them. And we're going to use Omega again to get rid of that Enneacraft. Limit our opponent's hand advantage on this one as well.
And I think right now Florian's in a very good position, since Fortuna will be able to place the Rhapsody of Madness into the field, and right now I think Florian is a very good spot, having this amazing trap card to special summon from the graveyard the key pieces that he wanted in order to advance his play, go through Elfnote Power Patron into Elfnote Seraphim Streligia.
Yep. And this is going to snowball very, very fast because of the Elfnote Power Patron going to the graveyard of Synchro Material. We're going to get access to the Tania. We're then going to be able to bring this back. We're going to add a Crystal Wing to this build right now. And in a very simplified kind of game state, this is great for Florian. Definitely in the Ascendancy. Very few cards that I feel Sever could possibly draw for turn. So I think it's well within Florian's approach to try and settle the game. Not go for game right now this minute, because we've already declared our battle phase, but put it in a position where Sever just can't come back.
And I mean, right now Crystal Wing can also deal with any aircraft that will be draw for turn, for example, Torimar, and also I think we have the second effect of Tinia that can deal with any draw that Sever may draw, and we can manipulate pretty easily his hand.
Ooh, it looked like an effect monster, and I believe if you're going first, the only effect monster you'll play in the main deck will possibly be a Zaborg that you don't set. Yeah. Unless we have...
Yeah, the fist bomb, yes.
Oh, it was Vanities.
Vanities.
All well and good early stages, but unfortunately not enough here for us on that one. So that was round number 2. We've got Elfnote and Enneacraft. Florian is going to be moving on to round number 3 with an EXO record. It's not over for Sever right now. It's still a 1-1 record. It's still enough. And yeah, just going through the deck there. A legendary fisherman. Wow. That is a blast from the past.
And I mean, we were very happy to showcase how the Enneacraft would have worked against this matchup, because it is one of those scenarios that you really want to see certain matchups how they interact with each other.
Yeah.
However, we have a lot more action coming through the next rounds today, and please, no one will leave the stream, because we are very back. We will be back very soon, and with more Yu-Gi-Oh action.